As usual, the Fox Business All-Stars have a lot of opinions. Charlie Gasparino, Charles Bain, and Melissa Francis. That's it for Wall Street Week. We'll see you next week.
Too close to call? As the candidates dash for the delegates, what are the chances of a contested convention? The former RNC chair breaks it down on Mornings with Maria. Then, hockey legend Mike Richter details his fight to crush childhood cancer on Barney Monday.
When you think about success, what does it look like? Is it becoming a better professor? By being a more adventurous student? Is it one day giving your daughter the opportunity she deserves? Is it finally witnessing all the artistic wonders of the natural world? Whatever your definition of success is, helping you pursue it is ours. TIAA.
Every day you read headlines about businesses being hacked and intellectual property being stolen. That is cybercrime, and it affects each and every one of us. Microsoft created the Digital Crimes Unit to fight cybercrime. We use the Microsoft Cloud to visualize information so we can track down the criminals.
When it comes to the cloud, trust and security are paramount.
We're building what we learned back into the cloud to make people and organizations safer.
When you booked this trip, you didn't know we had hundreds of thousands of places to stay all over the world, or that we searched billions of flights to get you here. A few weeks ago, you didn't even know where yours was. Now the only thing you don't know is how you're going to leave. Expedia, technology, people, and places that matter.
Now everyone can get a better catheter with Liberator Medical's sample pack. There's the all-new compact catheters for women in your purse. The prehydrated catheter. It lubricates itself in the package. The self-lubricated catheter. Water-activated lubrication. The discreet pocket catheter. Curved to fit in your pocket to go anywhere. Call for your free catheter sample pack with free shipping.
Because we're not selling our own insurance, you can trust us with unbiased advice. 75% of business is insurance.com.
Get ready, America. Regulations are heading your way. The former chair of UBS on what businesses and consumers can expect. Then, Cleveland convention chaos.
I happen to think that the majority of people in this country are libertarian. They just don't know.
Is that true? Are you economically conservative and socially liberal? You're a libertarian.
It's the first nationally televised debate.
Different from Republican and Democratic debate. Libertarians focus on getting government out of the way.
I didn't create a single job.
All government power over you.
Two kind of awful people.
To virulent status.
These alternatives would be great.
Yes, each of these candidates is better than Donald or Hillary.
Welcome back to part 2 of our presidential forum. It's a relief to hear from libertarians after months of listening to Clinton and Trump talk about reducing our software entrepreneur John McAfee. Libertarian Republic. Governor Johnson, what would you do about illegal immigration?
I would make it
agreement. Disagreement.
To us down on the principle of borders and keep people out. So, but they have to be documented. If I have to be documented, well, then I think immigrants as well should have to be documented and made legal.
I think we can incentivize legal immigration, incentivize legal, and they cannot break the law if they know that there's the chance that they
Full path for the 11, 12 million illegals already here. Just let them.
Yeah, they're already here. They're already adding to our economy. So why don't we make it so that they can find a path to citizenship?
Because they lied to cross the wall.
We have got to make it simple for them to come here because we have a policy of this island. We need to have a simple path naturalization. Disease check, security check, done.
Any disagreement?
Well, the reality is that you've got Mexicans in Juarez that can see jobs that exist in El Paso that U.S. citizens don't want.
Americans say they're taking our jobs.
Well, that's not the case, and it's not an issue either of lower pay. It's lower pay when language is an issue. They're the first ones that recognize it.
What about?
Yeah, I like they lied to get in, and I'm not going to claim hypocrisy. Whatever. Who you're not lying. Hey, come on, sir. That wasn't.
So Paul said we got to worry about terrorism. We should put a hold on immigration from certain parts of the world.
And I think you framed the question just right. So, and it's my guy, but bottom line, he's a Republican. He's not a libertarian.
Says that the government should stay out of religion, and the government those kinds of standards. We've got to have a simpler path to naturalization for these people because they are coming here because they want to work. When immigrants come to the United States, they don't just take jobs; they give. Welfare, they would go to Europe. It's the United. Welcome the people who want to come here.
Let's talk about that, Mr. McAfee. You've said as the bill stay here. How would you
You're
do
saying that I'm agreeing with that statement, which I do not. I don't think open borders and welfare states have anything to do with one another. I would like to say about letting Muslims in. What would we interfering in the affairs of foreign nations?
And when he said that you can't have open borders in a welfare state, he said, then he followed up by saying that means that illegal immigration is actually superior. Why? Because then they don't qualify for benefits. So if we had a simpler path of naturalization, we wouldn't have the problem. But we should build a wall.
Next topic. Donald Trump, he supports free trade, but only fair free trade. He says our bad deals with other countries have cost Americans jobs. That leads to a question posted on Facebook. Rafferty, how will free trade help the working class by way of employment, not just of goods? Mr.
Well,
Johnson.
free trade. Who benefits from free trade but you and I as consumers? If China wants to subsidize goods that they send to the United States, who benefits? We do. And ultimately, China pays the price. Look, I think
some American workers lose jobs.
I'm advocating eliminating income tax and corporate tax. And if we did that, in my opinion, along with, it would create tens of millions of jobs in this country. Because why would you locate a business anywhere in the world other than the United States? Corporate tax.
We have a problem with jobs, and it has nothing to do with free trade. It has to do with the fact that our government has barriers to entry for entrepreneurs and new businesses. I mean, if the government we would have more than enough jobs for people. This is the fundamental issue.
But some people lose jobs when China subsidizes steelers lose jobs.
But consumers benefit from lower prices. See, nobody's talking about the third party in this equation, which nobody's speaking up for, and that's the consumer. They're allowed to purchase things from overseas. You can buy things at a lower price. That lifts people out of poverty. The purchasing power. So if the Federal Reserve would stop destroying our dollars, we could buy even more.
No, nobody's talking about entrepreneurship in all of this. Really, the model of the future is Uber everything. It's Uber accountant, it's Uber doctor, it's Uber electrician, it's Uber plumber. Eliminating the middleman and allowing the person who provides the goods and services direct payment for having a middleman. And it's also Airbnb, that we can subsidize our own incomes. It's getting government out of the way.
This is a new approach to jobs. Presidential candidates always talk about jobs.
Jobs president that God ever created.
We need a president that can create jobs.
Create good paying jobs.
It's what they say all the time. Governor, what would you do to create jobs?
In 2012, they did an analysis because Rick Perry was beating his chest over being the biggest. Well, they did an analysis, and guess what? It was Gary Johnson. And my response then was the same as when I was governor. I didn't create a single job. Government doesn't create jobs. The private sector. God, government can create this level. I do think I contributed to that.
I have to once agree completely with Governor Johnson. Jobs are created by industry, by private business, and they are reduced when we impose barriers. When we impose excessive income taxes in order to start with 1,000 forms and report to OSHA. This is the fundamental problem. If we remove these barriers, our industry will take care of itself and our jobs will improve.
Liberty is the opposite of license. We've got to get rid of the occupational licensing in this country. Why do you need to braid hair? The government has got to get out of the way. The Institute for Justice. If the government would get out of the way, why do I need a certificate to cut hair? Ladies and gentlemen, occupational licensing is one of the greatest threats to liberty and entrepreneurship that we have. We've got to get government out of the way.
On what Austin said, having been governor and vetoed as many bills as I did, I vetoed a few of those.
Good. Thank you. We'll have more coming up. We thank our viewers who follow us on social media. For the candidates, if the rest of you want to get in on this action, please follow me at Twitter at John Stossel. Use the hashtag forum or like my Facebook page, then you can post your comment. One good question came from Daryl Perry. He says, why did you limit your 3 Libertarian candidates? That's a good question, and I'll take the rap for that. It's my decision. I thought if you have too many people, you don't learn that much about any one candidate. These 3 seem to be the right amount to me. candidates who played in the early polls. I apologize, and I just learned that Daryl W. is candidate. So sorry, Daryl. When we return, more on terrorism, weed, and pollution. Also, questions from news hosts.
You see, much of the role of the federal government be when it comes to protecting the environment?
Some people hate free thinkers, but Kennedy doesn't really care what they think. To all you freedom haters out there, I got you right. Catch Kennedy weeknights late on Fox Business Network.
Banking on Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or JP Morgan Chase, they're all components of the financial sector Spider ETF, which includes over 75 financial stocks in the S&P 500 to help add diversified single stock risk. Why invest in a single financial stock when you can own the entire financial sector of the S&P 500? Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Go to sectorspiders.com for a prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully. Visit us on the web at sectorspiders.com.
Which proposed a bicameral.
Boring! Come on, people. It actually matters. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that side to side. Challenger, Charger. 305 horsepower, 300 horsepower. That super efficient 8-speed training helps you get up to 30 mpg at 31 mpg highway. Win, to base over.
Get 4,000 total cash allowance or 0% APR plus 2,500 bonus cash on select 2015 Charger models in stock in August.
What average work pants move like? What Duluth Flex fire hose move like? Flex fire hose work pants. Stick it to stiff. At DuluthTrading.com.
They want you to think this is what a home burglary looks like. But over 95% of breaks occur in broad daylight, which is why I invented the Ring video doorbell.
Hello?
I'm doing free tree trimming estimates.
I'm dating the children right now.
Ring lets you see and speak with whoever's at your home from anywhere. And with dual power options, you can install Ring in just minutes. Available at ring.com retailers.
Insurance should be a lot of things. It should see your business the way you see your business. We think insurance should come from who you trust because actions speak louder than words. We think insurance should love what you love. The insurance companies, everything insurance should be. Visit CINFIN.com and talk to your local and what matters to you.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Paid too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. I just go online, gotta see all the parts my car will ever need. No parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the best. All the parts your car will ever, all the parts your car will ever need. I gotta come. Attention homeowners, the high wall tub is an accident waiting to happen. But now you can turn your existing tub or shower into a safe, easy entry tub in just one day. With no tub walls to climb over, just open the door and walk right in. And for a limited time, save $1,500 and be one of the first 100 callers to get a free gift with purchase.
Call 1-800-429-7913. That's 1-800-429-7913.
Welcome back to our Libertarian presidential. The government managed to break into the iPhone used by the San Bernardino terrorists. Apple had refused to help the government, and most libertarians supported Apple. So Fox News host Eric Bolling asks this.
If an iPhone contained the exact time and date of an imminent terror attack in America, should Apple break the encryption when that will be?
Mr. McAfee is an computer expert.
I think it's an absurd concept to think that a single telephone can predict a terrorist attack. It doesn't work that way. And this is something.
What if they had intelligence that on this phone is the plan? They might have intelligence that said that.
That's never happened, sir. I mean, this is my business. For instance, I can promise you that has never happened. I debated on CNN the FBI mouthpiece who came on and said this is an issue of privacy versus security. I go, well, maybe for you, but far more important, it's an issue of more insecurity to the American public by the telephones. So you have to believe me, there is not a situation. You actually think the terrorists are going to put their iPhone? When they throw their phones away every day, no, they're smarter than this, sir. The worst you did.
Petersen. And I would much rather be exposed to the inconveniences of too much liberty than of too little.
This is always the argument, and there's no evidence that with all this metadata that's being 110 million Verizon users being monitored, that there has ever been an instance thwarting an act of terrorism. So this is always the question, this is always the hypothetical, but it just, and if we create, look, it's one thing to open up one phone, but I'm siding with that. Just do that. They're going to have to provide a master key, and if they did that, I think it could be the immediate. If the Chinese government got a hold of that, when it comes to a lot of Chinese citizens.
All right, moving on. You all support the Second Amendment, individuals' right to own a gun, but some people with criminal records, some mentally ill people get guns, some commit terrible crimes. Any limit, Mr. Governor Johnson?
I think we should be open to a debate and a discussion over limiting guns to, but I haven't heard an argument. Well, I haven't heard the argument. We should be open to that. I got to tell you that I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any argument that at some point prevent me from getting that gun because I'm going to fail some sort of litmus test to have to do that.
The Dutch would have declared the colonists to be mentally ill. It's the government that sets the standard. The right to take away our form of our form of self-defense. It is an individual right to bear arms. We, the people, are the militia, and we should have every right to defend ourselves. I would overturn the national firearms. Your head would spin, because nobody should be forced to pay $200 to put a suppressor on the end of the built. My first one last year, and I use it frequently for hunting. But the Second Amendment was not for hunting. The Second Amendment was to shoot at tyrants if the government becomes tyrannical.
If anyone doubts my position on the Second Amendment, you've never seen a single photograph of me. But I'd like to say that the Constitution gives us the right not just to own guns. It doesn't say own guns. It says to bear arms, to carry them on without restriction. And Austin is right. Who makes the laws? Who's going to say who is insane or who is a criminal? Marijuana and is sentenced to 15 years in federal prison as a felony. Are they a criminal and should not be allowed a gun? We're not allowed to choose that. I'm sorry.
Can we get the governor on the record about what he thinks the government should do in terms of background checks?
On the record, Austin, I have always supported gun rights. I signed concealed carry in New Mexico. My political advocacy group don't limit the caliber.
Don't act so crazy. We might take your guns, Governor. Who do you think should be restricted in terms of owning guns?
I don't.
Who do you think is mentally unstable?
Somebody that is mentally unstable. I find
what
it
role does
difficult.
the federal government?
Are you listening? Yeah. I find it difficult to be able to actually come up with a piece that would address that. That's what I said.
We won't solve that in this segment. When we come back, a question from Dana Perina.
Too close to call? As the candidates dash for the delegates, what are the chances of a contested convention? The former RNC chair breaks it down on Mornings with Maria. Then, hockey legend Mike Richter details his fight to crush childhood cancer on Vardy Monday.
When you think about success, what does it look like? Is it becoming a better professor? By being a more adventurous student? Is it one day giving your daughter the opportunity she deserves? Is it finally witnessing all the artistic wonders of the natural world? Whatever your definition of success is, helping you pursue it is ours. TIAA.
At Joseph A. Bank for 4 days only, save up to 70% on almost everything in the store, including 70% off all suits and sport coats in all fits, from slim to big and tall. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, the name to remember.
Come on, Steve. It's not that hard of a game. It's so embarrassing.
Go easy on Steve. That was the club's fault. Trade in yours for some that'll make you want to practice more at Golfsmith.
If you drive a personal car for work and don't track your business miles, you could be losing thousands of dollars, unless you have MileIQ. It's the app that automatically detects and logs all of your business miles so you get a great deduction or reimbursement. MileIQ provides comprehensive reporting that shows you how much you save with each drive. The average MileIQ subscriber deducts $547 a month. That's more than $6,500 a year. So take control. Download it for free and join the millions of drivers who trust MileIQ.
If you had $1 for every dollar car insurance companies say they'll save you by switching, you'd have like a ton of dollars. But how are they saving you those dollars? A lot of companies might answer or no comment. Then there's Esurance, born online, raised by technology, and majors in efficiency. So whatever they save, you save. Hassle, time, paperwork, hair tearing out, and yes, especially dollars. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
I constantly think about the future. Where are we headed? What's it going to look like? This was the time to do something. Right now. The Helio has an aerodynamic design. We're half as wide, we move half as much air, and we get double the mileage. I found a way we could do things better. It's time to be smarter with what we already have. I believe in the American dream. To be innovative, to be responsible, to own the future. Together we can alter the course. The course of the future. The course of transportation.
Get ready, America. Regulations are headed your way. The former chair of UBS on what businesses and consumers can expect. Then Cleveland convention chaos. Everyone's talking about a contested GOP nod. Now, John Yob explains the potential details Monday on the Intelligence Report.
We're back with the three leading Libertarian presidential candidates. First, a question from host of The Five, Dana Perino.
What should the role of the federal government be when it comes to protecting the environment?
Mr. McAfee, it's something we say government should do.
I'm sorry?
Is that something government should do? Private sector can handle?
Let me tell you why. Because if you have a truly free market, then the environment will be protected by the market support or lack of support. Why do we have electric cars now? Not because they're mandated, but simply because people prefer them. I'm doing something to help the environment. So how is the government going to create anything based on science, which is constantly changing and contradicting itself.
But pollution controls have made the air and the water cleaner. If I have a factory, my smoke goes to someone else's yard. I don't see how private.
You haven't been to Detroit recently if you think water is clean, sir. I'm sorry. But have they? Have they indeed? I mean, catalytic converters, they have removed the sulfides from the exhaust so that we do not have acid rain. But what have they added in terms of carcinogens into the air? A lot. I mean, it's a complex
So
issue.
you would have no EPA.
Pardon?
You would have no environmental
Definitely have no
protection.
EPA. Absolutely, sir.
Mr. Petersen,
The EPA are a bunch of unelected bureaucrats with assault rifles.
you would abolish the EPA?
Well, the president does not have the authority to abolish anything. We have to work through Congress, so you have to obey the
Would you
Constitution.
ask Congress to?
I would ask Congress to do so, but if they would not do it, I would ask them to relegate the EPA to their original enforcement role. The EPA was not meant to go out and harass Oregonians and murder Oregonians. The problem with the EPA is that they are originally supposed to provide scientific evidence in cases where property rights were in dispute. If the EPA is to exist, that's all they should be doing, providing scientific expertise. You know, I always say I don't believe in gun control, but I do think that we need to control the government's uses of guns. We've got to disarm the feds.
All right, but no EPA, Governor Johnson? This seems like one agency that we did need.
I think that government exists to protect us against individuals, groups, corporations that would do us harm. And there are polluters out there. In New Mexico, there was a mine that was polluting a river in northern New Mexico. It had been allowed to pollute for decades. My biggest ace in the hole was I was going to make them a Superfund site if, in fact, they didn't come to the table because they were bad actors. If it weren't for federal EPA shutting them down, they would still be polluting that river. I put this in the context of protecting us against harm.
What about global warming? Should they protect us from that?
Whether global warming is true or not, government should play no role. It's not the job of the government to protect us from these things. The government is actually the biggest polluter. Did you know? So let's get the government out of the business of polluting. And the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a scientific consensus that states that there is a warming trend. But the truth is that there may actually be some benefits to the warming trend. Scientists are good at looking at the facts on the ground, but they're terrible at predictions. They're not Nostradamus, and we shouldn't be making those kinds of policy decisions and beating people over the head to solve a problem. China won't come to the table, by the way. They're a big polluter. India, they're greater polluters than the United States. So what is the federal government going to do to force China and India to come to the table? That's the question. Why do we have to crack down on the Americans? Why is it always we have to tax Americans? That's the problem, is that we are not even the biggest polluter, so it's hypocritical of the government to try and enact these legislation on us.
McAfee. 10,000 years ago, where we're sitting now was under a mile of ice. That ice occurred over a 100-year period and disappeared just as rapidly. Our Earth has gone through unimaginable cycles and changes. I'm not saying that what we're doing is not increasing global warming, but we can't stop the warming and cooling cycle that the Earth does as it spin wobbles around its axis. I'm sorry.
So if you had the power, you would approve the Keystone Pipeline.
But what power should we have to approve or disapprove anything of that nature? That's the issue I'm asking. Because you're assuming that we are gods as the government, that we have elected the smartest people and the smartest scientists. Well, we haven't, and we can't, because we cannot know that. So no, we should not have that power, sir.
So private pipeline companies would build those things, and should they have the right of eminent domain to lay the pipe?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Well, that's the other thing that no one should have the right to do. To take away my property or to cross my property without my permission? Absolutely not, sir. So no, therein lies the issue.
How would they get the right of way?
Maybe they won't, and then maybe that's a good thing. They don't have their pipeline. I don't know. Let the market do its own thing, sir.
Well, 8 years as governor of New Mexico, not once did I enact eminent domain for anything. The Keystone Pipeline, I support the Keystone Pipeline, but I don't know how much of that relies on eminent domain. And I'd be hard-pressed to condemn property to see that take place. With regard to global warming, I think a great example right now is free markets and the fact that we don't want carbon pollution. So the free market has basically bankrupted coal in this country. And it's a decision that you and I have made. We don't want carbon emission. We want less of it. And a great example, like I say, right now it's playing itself out. No more coal plants are being built.
Next, gambling and prostitution and drinking and more from Pushy Fox anchors.
So here's my question for the libertarian geniuses.
This is what we have to deal with here at Fox. He's got a question about drugs after the break.
At Ally Bank, no branches equals great rates. It's a fact. Kind of like grandkids equals free tech support.
Oh, Chris, oh, look at you. So great to see you. None of this works. Come on in.
There are 2 billion people who don't have access to basic banking, but that is changing.
At Temenos, with the Microsoft Cloud, we can enable a banker to travel to the most remote locations with nothing but a phone and a tablet.
Everywhere where there's a phone, you have a bank. Now a person is able to start a business and employ somebody for the first time.
The Microsoft Cloud helped us to bring banking to 10 million people in just 2 years.
It's transforming our world.
What did you take?
You took my hair.
You took my husband, my grandmother.
My dad.
You tried to take me.
You try to take everyone, but I won't let you.
We will stop you with therapies,
With immune cells, genetic testing,
Clinical trials.
and cutting edge research, we will stop you.
by treating every single patient.
Just like family.
And cancer,
You're going to lose.
and we are going to win.
Are you over 50 and concerned about whether your money will last through retirement? Hi, I'm Josh Melberg, founder of JD Melberg Financial. There's a lot of misconceptions about annuities, and the truth is, they're not for everyone. But for many people, income annuities are a smart way to achieve greater retirement security and regular, predictable income for life.
Take charge of your retirement today with JD Melberg's next-gen annuity strategies that could provide you with up to 33% more income.
An income annuity is an agreement between you and an insurance company. In exchange for a one-time payment, the insurance company is legally obligated to provide you with a regular, predictable, reliable income stream for the rest of your life. And this income is potentially tax-free.
This is John. He wants to retire in a few years, and when he does, his $200,000 annuity will provide him with $18,000 of income for the rest of his life. Plus, if he needs more income for home health care, that income could double for up to 5 years. That's as much as $36,000 a year using JD Melberg's next-gen annuity strategies. So call now and discover ways you can get up to 33% more income with this free guide. You'll also get the #1 mistake retirees make when investing in the stock market and this free DVD featuring Josh Melberg's industry-leading concepts.
Your retirement is too important. Call us today for a confidential, no-obligation conversation with one of our licensed annuity specialists. We'll discuss your specific goals and help determine if the next-gen annuity strategy is right for you. Take control of your future today.
Call JD Melberg right now at 1-800-350-2150. You'll get next-gen annuity strategies revealed, the #1 mistake retirees make when investing in the stock market, and this DVD all completely free. Learn ways to receive up to 33% more income using next-gen annuity strategies. Call 800-350-2150.
I wear a dozen different hats, doing small gigs, side gigs, gig gigs. QuickBooks Self-Employed helps me get ready for tax time. To separate expenses, I just swipe. With one hat, I don't mind wearing.
Thank you. I work for me, and so does QuickBooks. It estimates my taxes, so I know how much stays in my pocket, and that's how I own it.
Stay in the flow with QuickBooks Self-Employed. Start your free 30-day trial today at joinselfemployed.com.
At Ally Bank, no branches equals great rates. It's a fact. Kind of like social media equals antisocial.
Meet my fiance, Denise.
Hey, good to meet you, Dennis.
Welcome back to our Libertarian presidential debate. Most libertarians say the drug war does much more harm than good. The adults ought to be allowed to do to our own bodies whatever we want. And that leads many other Americans to say things like this.
So here's my question for the libertarian geniuses. You see the damage that heroin is doing all over the United States. You see it because it's cheap. And the cartels in Mexico are smuggling it here with very, very little interference. Imagine if heroin and other hard drugs were legalized here and distributed here, how much damage would occur. So how can you support that?
Mr. McAfee.
Okay. I don't know how many of you were alive in the 50s, but you could buy opium in the form of paregoric off the shelf at any pharmacy in this country. There was no opium epidemic because it was available legally. Absolutely not. Common sense. You know, if you're going and buying paregoric and your parents found out, you get a whipping, which is what they used to do in the 50s. Okay, so by saying we're going to legalize drugs, we're going to increase the consumption, absolutely not. The reverse usually happens. Why? Because children always want to do something which is a little bit bad. Something that's exciting. If it's legal and you see people buying it and you have heroin addicts on the street, what is the damage that they're doing to society? That's my question. The damage they're doing is to themselves. And the damage that we do is assuming that we know what's right for you. You're going to be a better person if you stop doing heroin.
Sir Peter. Yeah, I have to say that Bill O'Reilly's being a pinhead on this one. Sorry, Bill. You know, because drugs are illegal, that they are so dangerous. We saw this with Prohibition when they were making bathtub gin. If you knew what kind of dosages you were taking when it came to illegal drugs, you might know what the danger is. Drug dealers, thank you. Drug dealers don't check IDs. We've spent $1 trillion on a no-win war on drugs. One of Nixon's aides just came out recently and said that the war on drugs was meant to crack down on hippies and black people. It's ridiculous. We've got to stop this. This is where we get the violence on the border. If you guys want to have a more secure border, then you've got to end the war on drugs. We will be a safer, freer nation.
We've got an example out there with Zurich, Switzerland, where they made free heroin available. You had to register, but you got as much heroin as you wanted. The idea was to reduce death, disease, crime, and corruption. I met with the chief of police from Zurich, Switzerland, when he came to Albuquerque for a worldwide drug conference in 2002. And he said, when they came out with this program in Zurich, I and all of law enforcement could not have been more opposed to this. Death, disease, crime, and corruption was going to skyrocket. I'm here to tell you that all of those things improved, and the citizens of Zurich re-upped on this program. When you realize that only 8,000 people a year die from heroin overdose, and people say, well, that's because it's illegal. Well, gee whiz, if it were legal, if it were controlled, meaning quality, quantity known, you might not have any death. And people will still commit suicide doing anything.
All right, some people will get addicted, so Geraldo Rivera has a related question.
When covering the New Hampshire political primaries, the presidential primaries this year, we found an epidemic of heroin abuse and overdose deaths like I had never seen before. As a libertarian candidate, would you be in favor of government programs to help the addicts and stem this epidemic of overdose deaths?
Mr. McAfee, government programs?
Well, here's the problem. We're assuming that you can actually help a heroin addict that does not want to be helped. I mean, as a former addict and alcoholic, I can promise you that until you hit bottom and you're ready to reach up for help, there's nothing anybody can do. Because if I want my heroin fixed, all of the goodwill in the world is nothing more than the interference of you into my life. Because you view me as something alien and improper. I'm the heroin addict, and therefore I need to be fixed. You can't do it. I've got to want to be fixed, and I've got to reach out to you first. You can't reach out to this. You cannot.
Lightning round, moving on. Should we legalize prostitution, sex work? Governor Johnson, yes or no?
Well, it's more than a yes and no. Look, if you're going to engage in prostitution, where is the safest place in the world that you can do that? Well, it's Nevada. And so, yes, empower women, protect women from the abuses that occur with prostitution.
My wife was forced into prostitution at the age of 20, and for 10 years suffered unimaginable hardships and physical abuse, mental abuse for 10 years under a vicious pimp. I personally rescued her 3.5 years ago and married her. And so my opinion is it has to be legalized, else it is the most inhuman of all things as being criminalized.
Should gambling, quick answer, should gambling be legal?
Absolutely.
Yeah, all for them.
Best example of crony capitalism. The licenses that get issued have to do with being inside.
Yes. Correct. When we return, a question from Judge Napolitano.
Fox Business Network on Sirius XM. Powerful financial insight on Channel 113. Plus, every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7. Channel 115.
When it comes to small business, she's in the know. So strap yourselves in for Action Fall. Small Business Edition.
Oh no! I'm up to my neck in operating costs. I'll save the day.
For plumbers and bakers and escapers of law, she's got customized coverage you can count on.
You get my part back. Now you're gonna pay. Not so fast. I cover more than just cars and trucks. Action Zone! Did somebody say insurance? Wow! Action Zone! Can I get a smoothie, please? Ooh, they got smoothies? For me.
Ram trucks are reaching new heights when it comes to capability and efficiency. The Ram Heavy Duty is the most capable full-size pickup on the road today. And the Ram 1500 is the most fuel-efficient full-size pickup ever. So what does that mean? It means Ram trucks give you the best of both worlds. So go big and go far, because the best never rests.
Many people clean their dentures with toothpaste or plain water. And even though their dentures look clean, in reality, they're not. If a denture were to be put under a microscope, we can see all the bacteria that still exists on the denture. And that bacteria multiplies very rapidly. That's why dentists recommend cleaning with Polident every day. Polident's unique microclean formula works in just 3 minutes, killing 99.99% of odor-causing bacteria. For a cleaner, fresher, brighter denture every day.
How fast are Allegra gel caps?
They're rise and shine fast.
Body's ready to go fast. For your toughest symptoms, non-drowsy Allegra provides noticeable relief in just 1 hour.
Their fun shouldn't wait fast.
Allegra gel caps, not just fast, Allegra fast. Guarantee or your money back.
So, how do you survive The Walking Dead? First, you gotta make smart choices. Second, you gotta know who to trust. Oh yeah, never get backed into a corner. What am I telling you for? You're smart. You're a Dish customer.
Dish customers choose the best value, customer service, and technology. Don't miss The Walking Dead, Sundays only on AMC.
One call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your neck.
And lower his rates and consolidate his bills into one low payment.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
Cause debt sucks.
Call 888-361-8584. Call now.
Long range, huh? Says here in a weight gain trial of calves on cows, parasite control with long range outperforms Cydectin and Safeguard dewormers combined by as much as an extra 40 pounds per head. Wonder what that'd feel like.
Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage such as granulomas and necrosis can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. You have a lot to gain with long range.
When I think about Epernex, some choice 4-letter words come to mind. Like more. Epernex kills more species and stages of parasites than any other brand. And safe on calves, heifers, cows, and bulls with 0 meat and milk withdrawal and 0 odor. But mostly, deworming your cows with Epernex pays. Up to $200 a head. Dang. And now, when you pour on Epernex, you save too. Double dang. Find a dealer. Get a rebate. EpernexKillsIt.com/dang.
We're back with our Libertarian Presidential Forum. Here's a question for you from senior judicial analyst Judge Napolitano.
What would you do to protect the Constitution today in an era in which no one alive has consented to it, and the president regularly violates it, and the Congress treats it like a blank check?
Mr. Petersen.
Well, the question is, what did the founders mean when they meant they were leaving something to their posterity? The Constitution was a gift to us. They fought hard to restrict the power of government.
He's asking, how would you protect it?
Well, how would I protect it? By obeying it, by understanding it, by reading it, which I do every single day. The president has a responsibility to obey the law. The government is set between checks and balances. And we have to remind people that the president doesn't write the law. That's the Congress's job. So I would protect the Constitution by obeying it.
The founding fathers were smart enough to know that all governments will eventually become corrupt. This is what happens. As you gain more power, you gain more corruption. This is the facts of life. Embedded within the Constitution is the fail-safe, the Constitutional Convention, which can be convened by Congress or by two-thirds majority of the states, which we're already close to. So they anticipated that we would at some point need something else and gave us the option to do so through the Constitutional Convention. They were smart people. And we have reached that point. If anyone thinks our government is not insane, has not turned inward, has not invaded your privacy, and is not serving you, and instead they are becoming your mother and your father to order you around, this is the reverse role.
Governor Johnson.
Governments invade our privacy, but do not let us invade its privacy. This is the problem. So the Constitution has the means to save itself. So.
Governor Johnson.
Well, we should obey the Constitution, but we should recognize that we can change it. If there's one thing I would change about the Constitution, it's the 17th Amendment to the Constitution, which allows the direct election of U.S. senators as opposed to senators being appointed by the states. If that were the case, we would not have the biggest problem facing this country today, which is government spending.
And the 16th Amendment, income tax, sorry.
And I'm advocating for the same, yes, with regard to eliminating.
All right. Closing statement time. Each candidate gets 45 seconds. We begin with Austin Petersen.
My fellow Americans, you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. This year we must decide if we are going to nominate a candidate who represents the future of our movement, or if we are content with stagnation. Now, I might just seem like an energetic youth, but in 1 Timothy it says, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for believers in speech, conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all individuals, regardless of age, race, faith, non-faith, or sexuality. We're all made of the same star stuff, people, and we're all endowed with the same individual rights. May the light of liberty shine on all of humanity forever, and especially on my beloved United States of America.
Mr. McAfee.
In my opening statement, I said I hope that through this debate, you would see the value of liberty in all things. And I hope that in the 2 hours that we have been debating and answering these sometimes very difficult questions, you have seen that some fundamental principles are all that we need to live together in a sane and harmonious fashion. We cannot hit one another. We cannot take each other's stuff. We must keep our word, our agreements, and our contracts. And that personal privacy and personal freedom are paramount to any society in which I would want to live, and you, I hope.
Governor Johnson.
If you want someone who will tirelessly advocate for smaller government, less taxes, more individual freedom and liberty, free markets, embracing immigration as really a good thing, a skeptic when it comes to our military interventions, term limits, ending the drug war, crony capitalism, women's equality, I'm your guy. I will relentlessly pursue all of these things with common sense that all of you will be proud of.
Thank you, candidates. Good luck to you all. They now go back to the campaign trail. The Libertarian Convention will be held next month in Orlando. At that time, the party will pick its nominee. I assume it's one of these three. We hope this debate helped you decide who you would choose. And when we return, analysis from Reason Magazine's Matt Welch and Fox Business host Kennedy. Thank you.
When you think about success, what does it look like? Is it becoming a better professor? By being a more adventurous student? Is it one day giving your daughter the opportunity she deserves? Is it finally witnessing all the artistic wonders of the natural world? Whatever your definition of success is, helping you pursue it is ours. TIAA.
What average work pants move like? What Duluth Flex fire hose work pants move like? Duluth Flex fire hose work pants. Stick it to stiff. Only at DuluthTrading.com.
After years of wild overspending, Puerto Rico is out of money. Who will bail out Puerto Rico? Washington says you will. Congress wants to change the rules to grant Puerto Rico unprecedented bankruptcy protection called Super Chapter 9. If Puerto Rico is allowed to declare bankruptcy, high-spending states like Illinois will also want to declare bankruptcy. Retirement accounts crushed, a bailout on the backs of savers and seniors. Tell Congress, stop the Washington bailout of Puerto Rico.
Do you toss and turn all night? Can't sleep because your spouse is snoring or wake up with neck pain or a headache? If you're not getting the sleep you need, now you can with MyPillow.
I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and I had all these problems too. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked, so I invented MyPillow. My patented fill does something no other pillow can do. MyPillow lets you adjust it to your exact individual needs regardless of sleep position and stays that way all night long so you get the best sleep of your life.
MyPillow has been a godsend. It's the best pillow out there.
I've purchased at least half a dozen pillows in the last 3 years. Nothing's really worked for me like the MyPillow.
Other pillows go flat, causing you to fold them over or use your arm for support, which can cause pain. Hard foam pillows can raise your head too high and heat up during the night, making you very uncomfortable. But the revolutionary MyPillow has patented fill that won't go flat and keeps your neck supported and aligned to your exact individual need. MyPillow helps you get and stay in deep sleep all night long. Call or go to MyPillow.com now to order your MyPillow. Use the promo code on your screen and you'll get a second pillow absolutely free.
I invented MyPillow because I believe everyone should get a great night's sleep. I do all of my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota, and every part of MyPillow is made in the USA. It's machine washable and dryable, and it comes with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a full 10-year warranty. Now I'm proud to announce that MyPillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. I personally guarantee that MyPillow will be the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. MyPillow comes with an unprecedented 60-day money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose. Don't delay. Buy one and get one absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
We've now heard almost 2 hours of debate from the Libertarian presidential candidates. Who made the best case? Let's ask 2 smart Libertarians, Reason Magazine editor Matt Welch, Fox Business host Kennedy. Kennedy, you first.
I thought Austin made a good point that if you end the war on drugs, you'll actually make the border much more secure.
Austin stuck the landing, I thought, really well right at the very end after making sweet love with the Constitution for a long time in the founding generation.
My fellow Americans.
1802. But talking about the importance of ballot access into making the Libertarian Party a lasting, it already is the biggest third party by far in this country. It is the only third party going right now. I don't want to disrespect the Green Party, but it's doing, it's doing pretty well right now.
Okay to do that.
But he made a good point with ballot access. I thought it was very interesting to note the different ways that they agreed with each other. Right, many of the agreements.
But before you go to that, it sounds like you're saying, "Oh, you think Austin Petersen won the debate?"
I'm not going to say that Austin.
No,
Petersen
I don't think Austin Petersen won the debate by a long shot.
Did anybody win? Somebody best?
I thought Gary Johnson made the best practical case to a curious mainstream audience, especially when he talked about entrepreneurship.
Gary, God love him, he still is a little bit tentative about believing what he believes. So it's like, legalize prostitution, yes or no? Well, it's complicated. Blah blah blah
But
blah
in the
blah
bad,
blah
it's
blah
so
blah.
safe and fun.
Probably yes.
Yeah.
Whereas John McAfee, and this goes to the difference. Gary Johnson is very pragmatically kind of oriented. How far can we push this? John McAfee is like, you own your life, man. And no, but I'm from California. I think that's cool. He's actually making things into first principles, and he turned one of your audience members just for that, coming out of the gate talking about you own yourself. It is fundamental to the conception of freedom and just citizenship that you own your own body. So there's a pragmatic case to be made for libertarianism, but there's also a deep philosophical case, and I think McAfee makes that case.
I also thought that he scored points on prostitution, saying that when you criminalize prostitution, you're actually creating a much more inhumane state.
So Gary kind of hems and haws on...
and gives details. Like, he doesn't just meet the guy from Zurich. He meets him in New Mexico. Who cares? In 2012. Who cares?
But at the same time, Austin and McAfee, I think, were a bit rigid when they talked about environmental regulation. I think you were pointing out...
we're going to live without an EPA?
I mean, we probably could live without an EPA, John.
Yeah.
However... if you're going to make a short list of what's going to survive the libertarian bloodbath, EPA would be on that list, because you have a property rights problem with pollution. Who owns the air?
Yeah.
Who owns the water? You got to sort that out somehow.
Who owns the federal land?
I would be so happy if this viewpoint was out on the debate in the main stage, because on whether it's...
What? This isn't the main stage?
This is a main stage, John, but a mainer stage on things like illegal immigration, the drug war, foreign intervention, government spending, shutting things down, all of that. There is no viewpoint like this, and there won't be a viewpoint anything like this on the main stage. And we think in terms of 2 seconds in American political commentary here. Pretty soon we're going to have 8 consecutive months of nothing but these two kind of awful people. And people are going to be desperate to have any kind of alternative. These alternatives would be great.
Yeah, no, you have two virulent statists. I mean, you have two, if we're talking about Hillary and Trump, you have two people who are so invested in authoritarianism and creating more government to make themselves more powerful. It's kind of terrifying. I actually thought McAfee made a really good point when he was talking about Apple and how you can create more insecurity for the public when you grasp at the security through government coercion.
And again, that is a point that is the exact opposite of what Hillary and Donald Trump say. They're inseparable. They want the government on that phone. They want to shut down parts of the internet, both of them, not just Trump, over that. These guys wouldn't go anywhere near that kind of thing.
Thank you, Matt Welch. Kennedy, that's it for the first ever televised libertarian debate, nationally televised. Hope you learned something useful. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
That was then. Now politicians tell us we should ask. No, demand that our country do more for us. Politicians celebrate victims.
So many women still earning less than men on the job.
Working longer hours for lower wages. Apparently, America is filled with victims.
I've been verbally abused because of my religion.
I was also a victim as a child.
I wouldn't say I was not a victim.
America, a country of victims? That's our show tonight.
And now, John Stossel.
Are you a victim? I am. I stutter. My brother's much smarter than I am. Also, I'm deficient in social skills.